Let's switch our attention, shall we, to golf in 2024. And Todd, in the men's game, it was American domination once more when it comes to the majors.
That's right, Natalie. April in the U.S. is the start of the major season, which runs in the U.S. until May before heading to Europe for the British Open in July. Before the Masters, there is a Players' Championship, which many in golf refer to as the fifth major for men. Now, Scottie Scheffler became the first player to win it back-to-back and then went on to claim his second Masters a few weeks later. Both those victories occurred while his wife was in the final stages of her pregnancy, and Scottie stated he would withdraw from the tournament as soon as she went into labor. Next is the USPGA, where Scottie was in the headlines for a non-golf reason when he got arrested and jailed for driving when the police told him not to. It was a misunderstanding, and he was allowed to compete. The tournament itself was won by Xander Schauffele, who opened with a course record of 62. Can you believe that? At 62, he never looked back. He also triumphed at the British Open at Royal Troon. He is truly an exceptional player, and he seems to have ice running through his veins at the most pressure-packed situations. But for me, the most memorable major was the U.S. Open, where Bryson DeChambeau came from behind and he defeated Rory McIlroy. Now, remember, McIlroy was leading the tournament with 4 holes still to play, but 2 missed putts, both of them under 3 feet at the 16th and the 18th hole. And the shot of Rory McIlroy in the scores tent watching Bryson DeChambeau secure that victory are among the most iconic moments of 2024. And this marked DeChambeau's second U.S. Open title and his second major. So the U.S. men dominated the majors, as you say. Natalie, we had an excellent start in the women's majors as well, with Nelly Korda winning the Chevron Championship. And this was incredible, marking her 5th consecutive victory on the LPGA and making her only the 3rd woman to achieve that feat in LPGA history. And finally, just to wrap up the season, Scottie Scheffler winning the Olympic gold medal in Paris, the new father. What a year for him.
Yeah, as you say, with all that, the backdrop of what was going on with Scottie Scheffler, to be able to be that composed and do what he still was able to do. I mean, maybe that says more about the man than anything, but that is simply ridiculous and incredible at the same time.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he plays the way he plays, and that's his personality. He just does not get his personality. He does not get confused. He does not get upset about things. He just kind of plays metronome. Whether he just won the lottery or whether his dog just got hit by a car, it's just he just stays so calm throughout, and I think that goes to show just the kind of person he is. Just a great person. Maybe not the most exciting, maybe not the most dynamic off the field. And the journalists maybe say, "Oh gosh, this guy could give us a few more spicy quotes or maybe a little more drama in his private life." But he's just not that way, and I think you can really respect him when it comes on Sundays or moving days when he just has the steel and he has the skill to just push through controversy. Now, does he have some bad rounds? Of course he does. Everyone does, but gosh, his year in and year out, the consistency, it makes you think of someone like Tiger, the way he can play and rise to the occasion. But I think Xander Schauffele is going to be another name that we're going to hear more and more of because I think he's so good. Colin Morikawa is another name that I think in the golfing world that's just his trajectory is just on the way up.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Americans. Nelly Korda, of course, over on the women's side of things, the women's majors, winning the Chevron Championship. But aside from that, it was really golfers from my part of the world who dominated the year in the women's majors. Amy Young from South Korea winning the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. 2 Japanese ladies, Yuka Saso winning the US Women's Open, of course, and Ayaka Furue winning the Evian Championship. And then Lydia Ko from New Zealand back on the list, the AIG Women's Open champion, and of course, Olympic gold. Not a bad year for her.
Well, one of the great stories, obviously, the Solheim Cup. It's so exciting to watch that. It's the female equivalent of the Ryder Cup. And most of the time, golf is an individual event, but sometimes it becomes a team sport, which he did again this year at this edition of the Solheim Cup in 2024. Of course, the Americans coming across that draw in 2023, looking to get the win in 2024. It was hosted at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Club, which is just outside Washington, D.C. And with that Washington, D.C. traffic, just getting to the course was like a story in and of itself. But the U.S. emerged victorious under captain Stacy Lewis, and I had a chance to catch up with her a little earlier. Talk about the Solheim Cup in general as it regards to the schedule on a whole on the year. Where does it fit in, and how does it rate with the other players?
Obviously the American players, European players, it is top of mind. It is I think you start thinking about the points, as soon as as one completes, it is our big event. It is the team you want to be a part of. You want to win that trophy. You don't want to be a part of a losing team. And we finally, I think it was great for the event that we finally won.
Right.
You don't ever want things to be too one-sided. So yeah, it was obviously it was great for us this year.
I think you played in your first Solheim Cup back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. So you've got some good experience with the event. Why do you think it's grown in popularity so much over the last 4 or 5 years?
I just think it's so different from every other event you have, right? It's just different. It's not your normal golf. Your fans can go there and be loud. It's smaller. It's more intimate. There's not so many groups.
Right.
Everybody's in one place on the golf course, and I think that's a lot of it. I think anytime you're playing for your country, for continent, whatever you wanna say. I think there's a pride to that, and and it resonates with the fans. So we're continuing to try to grow it. I mean, still feel like I have to tell people it's the women's version of the Ryder Cup. So, we still got a ways to go in telling the world what the Solheim Cup is.
The growth in golf, especially in Asia, it seems to be just booming. It's just, waking the sleeping giant kind of thing where they are coming on in such young talent at such young age coming up. Is that the new hotbed for women's golf?
Yeah, and to be honest, it's been there for a long time. I just don't think people have quite realized it. But I do think our going to play in Asia all these years has helped that talent kind of grow and foster. You look at all the Thai players. I mean, that is purely a result of the tournament that we have in Thailand and the exposure that they're given to the LPGA, and then the government is now putting money into growing those golf programs and giving those kids access. And so you're seeing it around the world, even in Europe. The money that's put into these federations to grow the players that are coming out of there. I mean, you look at Q School they're trying to finish today with the weather, but Japan, Korea, tons of Europeans. That's what you see, and that's where I think, yes, we have this national team now with the United States through the USGA, but we're still missing the mark and how we're growing our American athletes.
Happy to be joined by Stacy Lewis, Solheim Cup captain here on This Sporting Planet. Stacy, as you look at golf as a whole, both men's and women's, sky's the limit. I mean, we're seeing payouts just keep getting bigger and bigger. Tournaments, the ratings on television seem to keep getting bigger and bigger. Even with the fracture with the PGA and Live Golf, is golf on a whole in a good place?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't think probably not, to be honest. I think what's happened in men's golf has kind of trickled down to women's golf a little bit, and people aren't watching the way they used to. This fracture that's happened between Live and the PGA Tour hasn't been healthy for the sport, I
Right.
don't think. How they get back together, I have no idea. Um, you have those guys take so much money. I just don't know how you come back from that. But I think overall we got to find a way to get more people to watch this game, because we're not. I don't think we're where we need to be. So it's the game has to be played faster. We got to find a way to modernize the game, similar to what baseball has done. I mean,
Yeah.
it's in a good spot, but I think there's a lot of room for growth.
Now, as far as you go, the Solheim Cup and your captaincy, does that stay in perpetuity as long as you want it? It's yours?
No, I mean, we actually have a call in a couple weeks to kind of figure out what we're doing next and where we're gonna go. I mean, if I was asked, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I loved every bit of it. Getting to spend the time with the players and getting to know them the way I did. And was it stressful? Was it a lot of work? Yes, but those 2 weeks have been two of the most fun weeks of my golf career. So we'll figure it out in about a month or so.
And you can see more of my conversation with Stacy Lewis, the captain of the U.S. Solheim Cup, on our YouTube channel on This Sporting Planet. So, guys, what is our takeaway? I mean, Stacy gave us so much good information, saying that golf maybe isn't in the best of place right now. Would you guys agree?
I mean, I was quite surprised by that statement, really, from her. I do get the fractures that's happened with the live golf, and we've seen it. We've seen how Rory McIlroy was so outspoken
Right.
about being anti it. So I get that there are dissenters. I get that there have been issues, although, of course, we now know that live golf has partnered up with PGA Tour, for example. And we're now seeing a lot of these players welcomed back when it comes to majors and certain tournaments. But so I was still a little bit surprised. And something that she mentioned that I thought would be interesting to just pick up on is when she said that she felt like golf should go down kind of the avenue of baseball. But what have baseball done that she thinks is getting it right?
Well, they did institute a pitch clock, which speeds up the game. And for the folks that don't watch baseball a lot, some of the games can go long. I mean, you could push 4 hours. For the diehards, the purists who love the game, sitting there with a cold soda and maybe a bag of peanuts, go 4 hours. I don't care. I'm having a great time. It's better than being at work. But for the people watching on television, a game that can go under 3 hours, you really get more people that will invest that time. And I think a lot of sports are finding that. I don't say more is better, but confined, condensed, and give me quality over quantity. It might be the ticket. I don't know how that would play in Asia, in your part of the world, Ed.
No, I mean, hey, we're watching these tournaments in the middle of the night, so the quicker they can finish, the better. I can go back to sleep. Okay, so she didn't mean that she wants the golfers to run from one hole to the next then, instead of taking a leisurely stroll.
I don't think so. I think it's just a quicker pace and less of the format.
We heard from Stacy there talking about how Asia has been a hotbed for a long time. It's perhaps only getting the recognition recently, just how well Asians are doing, but also how popular the sport is in this part of the world. And I was looking at a study that the RNA St. Andrews did recently in terms of golf participation. And actually, Asia is the leading region for people engaging with golf among RNA-affiliated regions. 26.2 million, they estimate, total adult engagement in Asia, as opposed to 19.7 million in Europe. The top 2 countries for golf engagement, Japan and the Republic of Korea. And of course, that is going to be largely down to the success of the women, more so, I guess, in those countries. But great to see that the take-up here is so high.
And just finally, Todd, did we have an exclusive there from Stacey saying she'd like to captain the US team in the Solheim Cup for a 3rd time?
Well, I think we do have an exclusive there. Good pickup by you, Natalie. But I'm going to correct myself. 2023 was not technically a full outright win, but the Americans are going to claim it as a win and a tie. And then 2024 obviously was a very exciting tournament, and they'd get the victory. I don't know why they wouldn't bring her back, but I got to mention also that she's still an active player. I mean, she's a former #1, so she still has some good playing days ahead of her. You see the rise of Rosang, Nelly Korda, some of the young talent that's coming up, and then as she mentioned, so much good talent coming up from Edward's part of the world in Asia and Oceania. So I think that the golfing world, as far as women's golf is concerned, is in a very good spot right now. But again, there's obviously, on the wish list, things they would like to see better and do better.
I know Stacey's kind of against live golf and the split, but do you reckon we could see live golf for women at some point? Greg Norman always seems to tease it a little bit here and there.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly does. And I would say the short answer is yes. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. And if the money's there, the players will follow. And I can't blame the players. Obviously, they're trying to make a living and trying to do the best they can. But I think there just needs to be less bickering and more good golf. And it comes down to that. And so you got to get a lot of people in the room to hammer out some details. But in the end, as the famous quote always says, the answer to all your question is money.